Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode for the Coaching Conversations podcast. Now, we are on Stitcher, we are on iTunes, and multiple different channels. Please check us out. Now, one of the things that you'll get out of our podcast episodes is a lot of content, a lot of strategy. It's not fluff, it's not concept, yet we really want you to engage with the content and let us know your feedback. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If there's topics you'd love to have us address, we would love to share them with you. Let us know your impact and let us know your feedback.
Reflective coaching is not what it sounds like, at least in terms of the way we're about to describe it. When you take the time to think, reflect, absorb, digest, especially when you have situations where you're in the heat of the moment, such as getting feedback, or you just heard of a major change. When we reflect, when we think, when we really give careful consideration to how we're going to react, I think most people would agree we're going to be more rational, more logical, and think through things more deeply. In Progress Coaching, we have launched our own approach to coaching that involves non-calendar-based coaching called Cadence. And Cadence is a combination of three main things. Content, we use content, videos, quotes, statements, documents, questions, and that will prompt the person to think, absorb. We use it to fuel their mind, and then they answer something called question sets. The question sets are essentially coaching questions we could ask in person or in a virtual setting. And then the third thing that is really interesting is we then see how they're thinking. We view their question sets. And then what we do is we respond. And then we have what we call an asynchronous coaching conversation. Now, why do we call it reflective coaching? It's really called cadence coaching. In this podcast, I'm going to call it reflective coaching. Let me give you an example. Recently, we had somebody go through a 7-day mini cadence coaching initiative on motivation. And we put in all these really inspiring videos. And one of them is by Denzel Washington. And he has a great video that's called, I think it's called Fall Down 7 Times, Get Up 8. And he talks about this in motivation and how work is hard and life is hard. And after 7 days, we had sent really a piece of content in their software that we use in Cadence, and they would get something every 2 days. So the program really went over 14 days. And then this person would answer question sets, really coaching questions like, what did you take from the video? What did you learn about yourself? What are you committed to learning? What are you committed to doing? What are 2 things you're going to do starting tomorrow morning? And what we started to notice is that the answers became more robust, and then we would collaborate. And we always collaborate by sending a video or an audio message speaking directly to the client in terms of what they're achieving. And after 14 days, I called this gentleman. I said, how are you feeling? He said, honestly, was that impactful, somewhat impactful, not impactful? He said, impactful. He said, I felt different after every video. And I said, how did you feel after the questions? He said, well, I took your suggestion. I did not respond right away. I digested. And then you told me to digest when you give me more coaching questions or maybe feedback via video or audio. And I found myself really thinking more deeply. So one of the best things that we can do is to give people content, provocative thought, quotes, to give them different ways to think, to look at things, to gain perspective. And ultimately what happened was it allowed at least this person, and certainly many of our clients, time to think. Why do I share all of this under the guise of reflective coaching? Our famous example is this. When you think about reflection and what time does for you, have you ever had that argument with a friend and you both say things you don't mean and you're upset with each other, and all of a sudden you bump into each other, and what do? You end up saying things like, hey, I'm really sorry about what I said last week. I shouldn't have said that. The other person goes, oh yeah, I owe you an apology too. I'm really sorry. What was the difference? They hadn't talked up to that point. It's time. And so most of us don't take time. So when you're in a coaching session, and by the way, we do in-person coaching, we do virtual coaching. I am a big fan of that type of coaching. This is just a different way to also supplement that coaching. And the idea behind it is that it gives people time to think how to answer. See, when you're in front of a coach or you're in front of your boss who's coaching you, you have to come up with the answers right away because you're right there, or at least you feel you do. So think about using content, get some software, think about giving people time to reflect, and you'll notice a major difference in your people.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.